This episode of Fresh and Buds is brought to you by Fi's Pies, folks. These are the best pies you can get in the region of Wraith. Listen, straight out of Volcor, they have this kind of fieriness to them. They're always piping hot and perhaps a little bit dangerous. But guess what? Typically, you're not going to get them for more than 3, maybe 4 gold coins, right? Pretty low to the ground cost, right? Wide pies, Fi's Pies. They're the best. Thank you for the sponsorship, and let's get to the show.
Fresh and
All right, welcome back to yet another episode of Fresh and Buds. I'm your host, Tommy Fresh, and you are all of my buds. It is episode 126, 126 episodes of Fresh and Buds, and who better to be on for such a milestone like 126 than MoBogsly, our dear friend, Mobo. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. 126 is such a big number. It's such a milestone. So I'm glad to be here for that special podcast number.
Yeah, I think I remember when I started the podcast, I said, you know what, 126. That's the big number I want to shoot for, and I did it. So this might be the last episode ever. Just kidding.
Here.
We have Dead Summer Art coming on next week, and then a set review. So I guess I'm still gonna do it. So we'll shoot for 223. I think that's
unlucky. Very unlucky.
That's the next big number. But we do have a great episode for you all today. Last week, I had Craig Krempels on. We talked about all the heroes from Heavy Hitters, except for one because it hadn't been spoiled yet. And guess what? It's been spoiled. So we're going to have a nice little show and catch up with Mo, see how he's doing. Then we're going to talk about Victor Goldmane, the new Guardian, who is looks very interesting, both aesthetically and from a gameplay aspect. So it's going to be a good one. But before we do that, I do want to give a shout out to all the different ways you can support the show or find stuff about the show. The Buds Discord's awesome. Twitter, everything in the link tree below. Please check it out. And we'll plug everything again at the end of the show. But and also maybe get to Charmer for a hot second at the end of the show as well. I'm looking forward to that conversation with him. Mark Johnson, MoBogsly,
Tommy Freshly.
How you doing, buddy? What's new with you? What's been going on?
I'm great. I've been enjoying my downtick of the Fab season. Kind of just enjoying my life, playing more video games, playing more other card games, just kind of enjoying life, enjoying not playing Fab for 10 hours a day, trying to grind. So,
well, yeah, it's important to take some time off, and I talked about this last week, but that's the nice thing about LSS. They seem to take some time off, so it gives us all a chance to take some time off as well. Now, you did have a decent, showing at the 20K, right?
Yep.
Can you tell us about your experience at the Realm Games 20K from, almost 2 months ago now?
That was that long. Wow. The 20K was a great time. I ditched Dash. I played Dash at Worlds and decided, you know what? I'm going to do a comfort pick. I'm going to do what, I feel the best on, which was Levia. So I got top 16. I think it was like 13th or 12th place. I needed one more win to make top 8. So we almost got there with Levia. Really, really well run tournament. Unfortunately, did not get a playmat. However, teammate Mercy got 2. So I have one of Mercy's playmats. I'm going to cross out her name and write my name over it. It's going to be great, let me tell you.
Was that just because you didn't get your information in time? Or they forgot about you?
Honestly, they probably saw my name and said no. It's not worth printing my name on a playmat. And I get it. 100% agree.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't. No, I would do that for you, my friend. But that's awesome. Levia still kind of might even be the most well-positioned deck going forward. We will see how this new meta shakes out when Heavy Hitters comes out. How do you feel about Levia going forward? And this is kind of like the This is crazy, actually. I want the listeners to know, the viewers to know that at Nationals Charlotte, you played Kano, correct?
Yes, played Kano, died to Eye on top twice. Great time.
I played Levia. And we were hanging out in between rounds, and you were like, oh, do you want to just switch decks and play? And you were like, what is this deck? This is crazy. Like, this kind of sucks. And now you're, like, playing Levia, like, almost, not, like, full-time, but, like, you're doing really well. You know, maybe one of the better Levia players in the world.
You know, I think Levia was bad back then. However, I do think that she's probably one of the best positioned heroes right now, but also one of the hardest heroes to play and do well with, because you have to take bad turns.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do dumb things. You could just kill yourself, and that's what I love about Levia. You know, it's all this bad stuff piled in the one deck that just fits me so well. She's great. Like,
is that like, are you being a little self-deprecating right now? Like, it's just like me, a lot of bad stuff, but it's still
100%. It reminds me of myself, you know. Like, sometimes you roll a 1 and you're like, "That's great. I'm so happy."
Hey, it can be like you know, an allegory to our own lives when we're playing Levia. You know, those double ones suck, but I'm happy that you're playing her. Do you know, we're going to get into Victor Goldmane, but I don't know what you've seen of heavy hitters outside of the new hero. Do you think that Levia is going to get a lot of boons from the brute stuff, or is it mostly going to be new KO and Rhinar just getting the support?
So it's weird. With the new KO ability giving +1 attack to your cards, they can print a lot of blue 5s. And Levia really wants those 6s.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to really see if they give Levia anything to work with. I'm sure we'll get like some things here and there, you know, but I don't think she's going to be the huge win that everyone is hoping for, unfortunately.
I will say, you know, just glancing at it and trying not to think about Rhinar or KO. And, you know, I think even Craig mentioned last week that, you know, Levia stands to gain some stuff from this set as well, that Beat Chest actually does play pretty well with Levia, because you're guaranteed to put a 6 into your graveyard, so it's a good early play, and you don't have to do as many bad turns that you were just mentioning. So it'd be interesting to see how much of this like new non-talented brute stuff gets into Levia, but I guess we'll see. You know, when you win Pro Tour LA.
Pro Tour LA, I will be there. So far, Levia is looking like my top choice because, I mean, I haven't really tested anything since. But I also play Levia differently than most people, I feel like. I play her more mid-rangey, like slower.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have like the high rolly stuff that like Mantan's up to, you know, like I'm just trying to be as consistent as, you know.
What would you say are the main differences?
The main differences is the Hydra card. Trying to like flip that off the top with the +13 card.
The
non-attack action blue. Reveal the top card of your deck.
Limb from Limb.
Yes, that. So I think Limb from Limb makes it more of a high rolly deck. But like Brute is a deck that wants the high roll and is allowed to just, you know, play those cards. So I like how Levia can go two completely different ways right now and still be really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it sounds like you're just kind of not doing, I mean, you're probably still doing Blood Rush Bellows stuff, right?
Yes. Blood Rush Bellows is still a great card.
So you're just trying to have more consistent Blood Rush turns and Art of War turns, just like the classic Levia stuff. Hopefully
I'm just classic Levia. Yep, I'm trying to Dread Scream into something. Art of War into something. Like, just get 2 attacks a turn and I'm happy. I'm not trying to push 30, 40, 50 damage a turn. I just want to play some fair games, you know?
Yeah. You want to play fair. Yeah. No, definitely. No. But it's funny enough is like Levia has the best rates right now, I think, out of all at least the aggressive decks. So it'd be interesting to see, you know, with the agility tokens running around from the new set, whether all of a sudden we're looking at, you know, Levia just popping off those 2 attack turns more consistently. So listen, folks, this is the year of Brute, I think, that we're going to see. But maybe it's not, because we do have to look at Victor Goldmane, which we will in a few secs. Now, you said you have Pro Tour LA coming up. Is there anything else coming up for you in the Flesh and Blood world?
Flesh and Blood world. Excited for Amsterdam. That's not really coming up, but I do plan on going there. Other major events, I don't think many have been announced yet, if I'm not mistaken.
Not coming to Hartford.
Should I be dumb and ask where Hartford is?
Connecticut.
It's Connecticut, man. Does anyone really care about Connecticut? Like,
I mean, I certainly don't, but it is close enough for me to drive to. So,
when is that one? I don't think I'll be there, but
that was in like 3 weeks. That's the first weekend in February. I mean, Az from Go Again Gaming is flying over to go to this, and you're not going to come over from Colorado.
I'll be on a cruise that week, unfortunately.
I don't know if that's unfortunate. It sounds like you'll be enjoying yourself. So,
unfortunately for everybody else that you don't get my presents is where I'm going with that. Like,
that's true. Mm-hmm. Silly me. I don't know. Of course. Bad for us to not have MoBogsly.
Yes, bad for you, Tommy.
Now, you recently casted an event, the coaching.
Yes.
How was that experience? How do you like being in the booth?
Yeah, so casting was always like a dream of mine. Ever since I watched Magic, I used to be a moderator for Star City Games for like 8 years straight on the Twitch channel. I've always wanted to take the next step and commentate. And really, I would like take more steps and, maybe commentate a Battle Hardened, maybe, keep growing that ladder and like moving up. I think commentating is a core piece of any card game. And without good personalities, without good commentators, the game will not grow. Commentators are like a nice like puzzle piece to the game's success. And I'd love to, be that puzzle piece and help out.
Yeah, it is very important, especially because a lot of the things that are happening on screen are not so apparent to a lot of people, and you need people that can kind of explain it in a way that anybody can get, not just the pro gamers watching, but also someone who might just be interested in Flesh and Blood and just checking out a stream. So very cool that you enjoyed it. Now, I too loved watching Magic streams like for a long time. Who was your favorite Magic commentator?
Favorite Magic commentator. This might be a cop-out, but my favorite Magic event I ever watched was the 12 rounds of Reed Duke when both players had the mic on and Reed was just talking, and like that was probably my favorite Magic event. And I don't know if that counts as a commentator.
No, it doesn't. That is a cop-out. No, that was a really cool event, and I would love to see something like that happen in Flesh and Blood too. But I mean, Magic has had great commentators forever, and we're very lucky to have great commentators in Flesh and Blood too. Some that came from Magic, i.e., Tannen and Craig. Have we had anybody else? I mean, Brian Gottlieb. He's certainly come from Magic as well. So maybe MoBogsly's the next big commentator in this game. Do you think that?
I'd love it. I think I could be. I think I could put in the work. But I also love playing, right? So like if commentating doesn't go anywhere, I'll still be playing. If one day LSS says, "Hey, do you want to commentate this?" I won't play that event. I would gladly commentate, So I'm open to both, and I just love the game. So whatever I got to do, I'll do.
Listen, folks, LSS, if you're listening, we know that you are. You just heard it here first. He's willing to put in the work. He'll do whatever it takes. And
whatever.
Oh my God. All right. Relax. That's the end of the show. No, but that's really awesome. Really love that you got to do that. And I would love to keep seeing you do it. So now let's talk about Bright Lights. I almost called it Everfest. The only reason why is because it's EVO. And I'm like looking at the EV, and then, I'm just thinking about Swing Big lately, or whatever. It's a great card. 2 for 8. It's just stats, dude.
You give them a quick turn 0. Just do it.
Yeah, they don't, whatever. What are they gonna do with the
Make those Kanos take it. Be like, here you go, Kano, have this quicken.
yeah, it's awesome when they do that. Now, let's do the fresh faves from Bright Lights. I keep almost saying Everfest. Let's do the Bright Lights fresh faves, and then we'll move on to Victor Goldmane, and then we'll say goodbye. You can go to your hockey game. Go Golden Knights or go Avalanche, depending on.
I guess just Golden Knights. Just no
Golden
Avalanche,
Knights.
you know.
Okay.
Like, just come on, Tommy, come on.
I'm sorry. All right, MoBogsly. Who was your favorite hero from Bright Lights?
Dash.io, hands down. I loved her. She was so much fun to play in limited, in draft, in classic constructed. Love her.
Why did you move off of her for the 20K? You just wanted to go back to form with Levia?
Well, I was playing
you're
OG
playing
Dash at Worlds.
Sorry.
However, Team Ascent had a super cool Dash.io deck that we planned on taking to Worlds. And then that calling happened where she went, 13-0?
Yeah, and lost in the finals, I believe. Yeah.
Yes. So we had a very, very similar deck list to that we were just kind of hiding, just hoping to release at Worlds. And then that event happened. And we knew to beat Dash.io, you just block, right? Like, that's pretty self-explanatory. We just hoped at Worlds nobody else would, maybe we could get some secret tech in there. But once that deck list went 13-0, we're like, well, there goes Dash.io, back to the drawing board. So,
yeah, that was probably pretty smart. It's still a really cool deck, and I think it definitely can have some legs, but and it's continuing to evolve, right? I think we're seeing like a mix of the boom grenades now, plus the other one that gives the next attack you boost with plus X or whatever.
Plus 3/1. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm forgetting.
Oh, the one cost ones, right?
Yeah. I'm blanking on the name right now, but so that is like they're more going with stats rather than the trickery, because once it's just like Dorinthia, right? Once the trickery is found out, the gig is up. So, or the jig is up. I think it's the jig is up.
The jig, yeah.
Man,
close enough.
It's been a long day.
You can just edit that out. It's fine. Just editors, take that one out.
Editors. Wait, I'm the editor right now. I'll forget. Weapon. What was your favorite weapon?
My favorite weapon.
You had 3 choices.
I really enjoy the Tekla Pounder.
The Tekla Pounder?
Is that what it's called?
No, that's the item from Everfest.
Oh, that is. What's what's Tekla's gun?
Now you got me confused. It's the Leveler. Tekla Leveler.
The Leveler.
Yeah.
I loved that so much, mainly because one in Tekla, it just felt cool to slowly build your gun, slowly make it better. But then also you could build this super controlly Dash.io deck that also wanted to play Leveler. Mm-hmm. So you could play Leveler Dash.io, you could play Max, Leveler. That was the one weapon that felt like any deck could really use it.
Mm-hmm.
That was just cool that each hero had their own weapon, but Leveler was just the best, on paper.
Yeah. I mean, certainly Dash.io and Max didn't always want it, but it was incredible in Teklo. Then again, it was his only choice, so you got to deal with the cards you're dealt with. Now, equipment. We did have a lot of equipment in this set. We had some standalone equipment. We also had Evos. So I'll let you answer either way. What was your favorite equipment from Bright Lights?
My favorite equipment from Bright Lights was the Evo arms.
All of them, or just
the blue, the majestic blue Evo arms?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
What does that one do when it transforms again?
I have no idea.
Nice. Yeah, but it's your favorite, and that what?
That's because of the art. It's because of the art.
The art is
my
very
favorite.
Cool. I liked the dark tones with the kind of red glowingness that was coming from that cycle of the Evo. I guess those are Evo bases, right? Because
Evo bases, and the cold foils are beautiful for those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those are really cool. I think that's been one of the most common answers for this question for Bright Lights. Now let's talk about other cards: non-attack actions, attack actions, items. Instance. I don't know if we had any instance. We had blocks in the set.
Oh, we did have blocks. Yes.
What was your favorite run-of-the-mill card from Bright Lights?
My favorite card total was the Scrap Harvester, I believe was the name.
The one that cranked an item when you when you scrapped?
No. Nope, not that one. Oh my god, what is it called? It's the Majestic Banish X items from your graveyard. So it's like X cost, banish X items, gets plus X.
The super scrap card. I'll tell you.
Yes, that card. And the main reason why I loved that card so much was because at the Realm 20k side event, there was a team sealed event. And I got this terrible -IO Kano looking deck, but it had that card in it. And my whole goal was to play all my items, blow them all up, and then just get them for like 18 overpower. And it worked once. And I was happy. I got him one game. And, it was like a dream come true.
It's Hyper Scrapper.
Yes, Hyper Scrapper. Yeah. That card is so unique. I think more Flesh and Blood cards should be cost X and just have these wonky, cool effects that if you play towards it, build towards it, you can just get them.
Oh, yeah. Wait, this is not the Overpower one, though. This is...
You need to play... So in my deck, I played an Overpower script the same turn.
Okay, yes.
And I played that out there to just close the game.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, this card's very cool. I saw someone at Armory this past week playing this in their Dash deck, I think, as like a win con towards the end. I don't know if it was Dash or Max or it was something, but I just remember I didn't play against them, but I just looked over and they're like, I'm playing towards the Hyper Scrapper. I'm playing towards the Hyper Scrapper. And then they didn't get there. But I was like, well, it would have been cool if they did. But yeah, it's a cool card. I like that. Great answers, MoBogsly. I'm
trying my best here,
You're just
trying my best.
So let's talk about Victor Goldmane. The
good old Vicky.
The man of the hour here. So, like I said, last week I talked about all of the other heroes in Heavy Hitters and just discussed our thoughts with Craig. And basically, well, what do we think? What's their impact? Do they have the potential to be like really good? Yada, yada, yada. So we didn't know what the last one was. And there was some rumors, right, that this blonde fellow, Victor Goldmane, might end up being the new hero. Some people said Brevant, from the Professor box set thing.
Yep.
They thought that. And then a lot of people started pointing at that all you got, the card, the defense reaction, where it has a quote from Victor Goldmane. I forget what the quote is, but people were like, no way, that person's not blonde. But guess what? LSS said, no, that is... well, I don't know if it's actually Victor Goldmane in the card art, but they said, we're actually printing Victor Goldmane. It makes sense. A lot of gold in this set. Let's have the Goldmane guy, right? So Victor Goldmane, I'm going to read the text here. The adult is Victor Goldmane, high and mighty. Oh, there's that all you got. Can you read the quote from that?
I can. If only they were all pathetic as you.
Nice. I mean, I've been told that many times. So
that was just towards you. I was like looking you in the eyes when I said it. So yeah,
thank you. Wow. No. So Victor Goldmane, high and mighty, is a guardian hero, 4 intellect, 40 health, classic. The first time each turn you create a gold token from an effect you control, draw a card. Pretty good. The first time each turn you would fail to win a clash. Instead, you may destroy a gold you control. If you do, put one of the revealed cards on the bottom of its owner's deck, then clash again. So, there's a lot going on here. What are your initial thoughts with Victor Goldmane?
My initial thoughts is, one, whenever a card says draw a card, all TCG players will flock to it, right? Like, that's such a powerful effect. That's a huge, huge thing.
Yeah.
The second thing I loved about it is put one of the revealed cards. You can pick either one of the revealed cards.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you revealed something busted, like, I don't know, swing big, I'm like, get that out of here. Like, I don't want Tommy to have that. Like, you can manipulate both players' decks, which is also huge.
Mm-hmm.
If they're trying to pitch stack, you can mess them up. If you just have a bad card on top, you can get rid of it. Such a sick ability. I think it's going to be great. There's only, one Guardian that's legal right now, and that's Bravo.
Bravo, and then we're going to get Victor Goldmane and Betsy as the new addition.
Oh, and Betsy, yes.
So, And for those that don't know, Clash is a new keyword. It's a lot like the old Clash from Magic, actually, a little bit, where each player reveals the top card of their deck, and whoever has the higher power wins the Clash, and then you get whatever the Clash effect is. We see it on some blocks. For example, Test of Agility is a Brute Warrior block. Blocks for 4. Obviously, this is not playable in Victor Goldmane, but there are other blocks out there. When this defends, Clash with the attacking hero. Winner creates an agility token. So there is a card, actually, let me bring it up, that actually works very well with Victor Goldmane. And that is, I don't know, it's the block that creates a gold token, right? Yes, the generic block. Test of Strength. Blocks for 4. It's a red. When this defends, Clash with the attacking hero. The winner creates a gold token. You play this with Victor Goldmane. You win the Clash. You not only get a gold token, but you also draw a card. So it replaces itself. Seems pretty insane. Now, the thing with blocks is, and it's going to be a huge thing for this deck, seems to be where most of the clashes are happening, with some different examples otherwise, but blocks are not the best into certain decks. So where do you see, like, how many blocks do you think this hero plays, or is it almost like Riptide where you have like a suite of blocks in your sideboard where you bring them in for certain matchups?
So blocks are interesting. Side note about blocks.
Mm-hmm.
My very first pro quest I went to, I thought it was CC. Found out the night before it was limited. So I got like a quick 30-minute rundown of how to draft.
Mm-hmm.
My very first game, I had the 4 block card in my hand. I arsenaled it. Learned very quickly you can't block with blocks from Arsenal.
Which the Everfest one? Or not Everfest.
No, the Bright Lights.
Bright Lights. My God, I gotta stop saying that.
Yeah. So like my very first draft, I arsenaled that. And I think it's gonna be a very surprising thing that players are gonna do. They're gonna arsenal it and just have a brain fart, right? Like you think of Sink Below, you think of Fate Foreseen, all these insane defense reactions. Don't do that with block cards. So that immediately brings their value down because you can't arsenal it. It's gonna be a red. If you have tempo, you don't really want to pitch it. You can't arsenal it. It's kind of stuck in your hand. So they're weird. It's a very weird card to have.
It's weird, and especially, and you do bring up a good point for newer players. They're going to be like, oh no, like, you know, even with the around the table professor set, they had blocks in the one deck, and I gave that deck to a new player who had never played, and they accidentally arsenaled the block, and I was like, oh no, we can move it back, like, you know. So that's going to be interesting for the limited purposes, like you said. But we do have a specialization with Victor here, and it's kind of interesting. It's a yellow, costs 4. What do you feel about yellows? Can they be?
I love yellows. I love yellow. Let me tell you, as a Kano player, all your best cards are yellows. So just bring out those yellows.
They're pretty good. It says, as additional costs to play this, you may destroy gold you control. If you do, this gets +3 and overpower. Pretty good. So it's attacking for 7. That would buff it up to 10. It also blocks for 3. And then it says, when you win a clash revealing this, create a gold token. So this whole card is powering itself, right? You clash, reveal it, get your gold token, and then on your turn when you draw it and you can play it, you get to basically swing in for 10, as long as you have the resources, of course. What's your thought here? This seems like a big reason to play Victor Goldmane.
So that card seems very strong. I don't think it's better than the Bravo specializations. However, if you have something to do with those extra 2 resources on your turn, like Pummel, for example, if you pitch 2 blues, have 1 card left in that, insane turn. If you have a blue and the red block card, like, you can still play it. So I'm a big fan of a 4 for 10 that, like, at worst is a 4 for 7 that blocks for 3. I think it's gonna be an auto include in in the deck. I think it's gonna be really good, but I don't think it's like overpowerful tilting kind of card.
No, not
Like,
at all.
it's that card's good, and that's kind of where it ends.
Yeah, I think which I kind of liked. This is a huge signal of how LSS is designing Flesh and Blood going forward. You know, they're taking a step back. We're not seeing these super crippling, pun intended, effects that are pretty insane. But this is just all synergy, right? You win with it, you create a gold token, you draw it immediately because of Victor's hero text. That is super sweet. Now, the interesting thing about this Victor Goldmane reveal is this is the first weapon we're seeing outside of Centauri Sabers, which we had seen before, and then we can only assume that at least one Mandible Claw is going to be there for KO. It's in the art anyway. But we see the
too soon, Tommy. Too soon.
Oh yeah,
he just lost his arm. Give him a break.
I know. Well, you know what? I think he's fine. I think he's all of his blues are now 6s. It's so good. Miller's Grindstone is Victor Goldmane's. Well, we're assuming this is Victor Goldmane's weapon, but it's not a specialization. So both Betsy or Bravo can play this card as well. It is a one-handed hammer. This is something I didn't realize until we were about to record. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. One-handed hammer, attacks for 4. You have to pay 3. Classic hammer stats right there, right? Pay 3, attack for 4. When this hits, you just bonk with it. When this hits a hero, clash with them. If you win, destroy the top card of their deck. If they win, put a -1 counter on this. So, what are your thoughts here?
I don't think the card's good. I will honestly say I don't think the card's good. Victor doesn't have a hero ability that can close the game out, right? Like Bravo, you can just give Dominate and you have the guarantee kill.
Mm-hmm.
Victor doesn't. And most of the time, Guardians want to just swing hammer, like block, swing big attack or hammer, right? And just win that fatigue game, slowly win the game that way. Victor might just destroy his own weapon. Then he's sitting there like, I don't have this free, 4 damage every turn. However, you can also use the shield, Rampart's Head.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with Rampart's Head is you need a mana, a resource sink to make it effective. Otherwise, you're just paying, you're giving up a card to block for 1. That's not really effective. So as of right now, I don't see a reason to play the one-handed weapon unless there's a payoff that makes it worth it. Can you run 2 of those?
Yeah.
Can you double fist those? I think if you double fist them, might be the best way.
Yeah, I used to do double Titan's Fist sometimes with Oldham, which is kind of funny.
Can anybody use Titan's Fist?
Yeah, I think so.
So Titan's Fist is what, 3 for 3,
and if
you pitch 2 cards, it's a 4 attack?
If the card is costed more than 3 or more, I think it was. Gets
so isn't Titan's Fist almost always just strictly better?
Well, so the big thing with Miller's Grindstone, I don't think you don't want to run it in the mirror. You don't want to run it into like
brute
or anything like that. But this card speeds up the fatigue process against other decks, not in the mirror, right? So if you continually win these clashes, you're destroying their deck. You're milling them. Now, I did say on Twitter that we should change the term mill in Flesh and Blood to grinding because we've seen 2 different things that do this effect with the word grind in it. Now, I know this says mill as well. That's not lost to me, but we're calling it grinding. So we're going to grind out this deck. I think that it can be pretty good. Also, like, Betsy can use this, and if you can give this wager, all of a sudden you can give it overpower, which is kind of good. So I don't know. I think this has potential to be quite good. Now it's interesting. It's a rare, so I don't think it's going to be the weapon for draft for these heroes, right?
I agree. I don't think it can be the weapon. I think we're gonna see the weapon.
You could draft it, obviously.
Soon, right? But it's not even like that great of a drafted card in this set when you have brutes and other guardians running around. Like,
yeah, exactly. And like some of the even like Warrior gets access to like the Warrior Guardian cards and the Warrior Brute cards that also have pretty high stats. Now, I don't know. I think that maybe this is a sideboard option. Like you probably run Titan's Fist into Brute, Guardian, whatever else goes pretty tall. And then you can bring this in against, I don't know, like I think Guardian's going to pretty effectively grind out like Ranger, like Azalea with this card. And
it's interesting.
What are you hung up on? I want to know. I understand that there's a real downside to losing the clash and getting the -1 counter.
Yes.
However, Victor Goldmane does have the backup of being able to destroy the gold to fix that.
That is true. I just never want a weapon that will slowly kill itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a risk. Like, let's say Terrason is on top. Cool. Like, that sucks, you know? Like, Guardians play a lot of non-attacks. Yeah. Not like a ton, but like they play enough that you're going to miss. And those gold tokens can be used to, draw cards, fix your hand, do all that kind of stuff too. I just don't see a world where Titan's Fist isn't strictly better unless your only plan is fatigue. Like, if you're just going to go in and be like, I'm going to fatigue you every single time, I think you're just going to run 2 of those and just have a backup hammer just in case. But if you ever want to, like, actually kill them through damage, you don't want that kind of risk. You don't want that liability, because once it hits 3 power, it's just 1 card, right? And you lose that endgame factor.
Absolutely. Now, here's an interesting thought here. Let's say you run a Grindstone and a Titan's Fist, right? You're getting a little wild. You're crazy. You got 2 hammers. You're bonking all over the place. Now, you're Titan's Fisting when you know that, like, you don't really know what's on top of your deck. Now, the interesting thing about Clash is, with the blocks, if you block, you clash, then you know what's on top. And if you didn't create a gold, you won't draw that card. All of a sudden, it's still there. And then you can attack with the Miller's Grindstone knowing what you have on top. So let's say we get more ways to manipulate or even just knowledge, right? Like, what if we have Dash IO? Like, we're not going to get a Dash IO effect, but what if we have ways to opt? Like, what if they give Victor Goldmane specifically a way to opt in a I don't think they'll give him something that is consistent, but like like an equipment piece that perhaps lets him opt when it blocks or something like that. All of a sudden, you're firing off with a Grindstone that you know exactly what you're hitting.
That'd be great then. Like, if you can fit either Fidia in this deck, again, if you clash with it, though, you're really upset. But if you have more ways to opt, more ways to make it so you're not just going to destroy your only win condition in the deck, I think it's okay. I'm just worried about your weapon getting like 1 attack and then you just losing the game, right? Or weapon having 0 attack and you're like, oh, that sucks. If there's enough gold tokens, enough gold enablers, and enough deck manipulation, I think it'll be fine. I am just worried that with this being the first set, it might not be good enough until the next expansion set.
That's fair. Now, here's a actually really serious question. MoBogsly. So we're looking at the art, right? Victor Goldmane. Right? I'm looking at.
Are we looking at adult or child?
Both. Let's look at both. And let's just say, I want to ask you, why is this Dagan White? This looks like Dagan White was put on a card.
It might be. You know, I could see it because, like, he was the Dev Challenge winner, so he is a champion. He is the MetaZoo killer, so he's, a champion to Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
Victor is a very hot guy, like, I can see I can see it.
I can see the resemblance. I mean, that's pretty big for Team Ascent, right? Dagan's on Team Ascent. I didn't mess it up. Did I?
He is, yes. Don't question that.
There's so many teams. I just got to make sure.
Unless you know something that I don't, and he's leaving us, which would be
he's coming
big
over.
Shock.
He's coming over to Team Fresh. We're starting to.
I didn't get that invite. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, stick around. You might. But I kind of love Victor Goldmane's vibe here because if you look at a lot of the stuff going on, like flavor wise in the set, right? We have KO, just gross, aggressive.
You take that back.
Oh, no, gross in an
gross.
endearing way. And like when I say gross, I think like, oh, that's gross. I want to play it. KO, this kind of like savage brute that's like here in this arena, just like going nuts. Then you got Reinar here. Reinar just kind of looks like a more, especially with the new art, Reinar almost looks, he's too good for the Coliseum. He's like, I've been around. He's kind of like Shrek and Shrek 2. He knows he's hot shit by now. Like, yeah. Shrek and Shrek 2. That's exactly what I was thinking. So you look at Reinar. He's like, all right, yeah, I'm actually more strategic now. He has access to beat chest. He's not discarding at random anymore. He knows exactly what he's discarding.
He got 2 brain cells instead of 1 now. He's improved.
That's like a double. He doubled his brain cells. So you got the brutes, which are going to do brute things. Then you got Betsy. Betsy's very on brand with like, she just likes to gamble and she just, pushes it. And, as she wagers more, her stuff gets more powerful. It's very cool. And then on the warrior side, we have Kasai, who's building an army, right? Kind of just wanders into this Coliseum to make money to be able to pay her army, right? She's making gold tokens. She's using that to get these cell swords. And then we got Olympia prize fighter, who is like obviously a champion. He's like so good at fighting but he's still stoic, right? In a way. Now, Victor Goldmane, he's the cocky one, right? This one, it's almost like, yeah, he's good.
He's got daddy's money.
Yeah. So Victor Goldmane is a Nepo baby, and we're going to tear him down here at the Fresh and Buds podcast. So do you think this is a big flavor win? Because I do think he is cool. I just don't know why he's in the Coliseum, I guess.
I feel like he's the kind of guy at the Coliseum that does like the thumbs up, thumbs down kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he would even get his clothes dirty. Like, I don't even see him in the arena fighting. He just seems like the rich dude that's betting and just like watching,
I feel like he is the guy who, he has a little bit of pull, right? He's been around. He's high and mighty. He's almost like kingly in a way, but he has the pull to basically rig these matches to be where like, oh, next we have Victor Goldmane, who's going up against, reads the note card, and it's like the puniest person we've ever seen. And he just like completely destroys them, and it makes him just look better, right? I think he's rigging the system, right? I think that's
100%.
Yeah, it's just got that smug look. And not to say that Dagan White has a smug look. We know that Dagan...
You think Dagan White is rigging these events too with all these good finishes? Is this a conspiracy?
This is a big conspiracy. Dagan, call in. Call in. Let us know.
Call it right now on Discord. We got to get it.
But I don't know. So like looking at this hero, it's very on brand. I kind of like what's going on here. The hero text is basically tells you this is what you want to do with this deck. Create gold tokens and clash. So all that being said, is this a clash or pass?
So it's really fast. That is perfect for those Guardian players who really don't know how to play the game yet. They're kind of just looking at their hand and they go, do I have 2 blues and a red? Cool, I'll send it, So this makes their deck building a lot easier when it goes, does this say make a gold on it or clash? Cool, put it in the deck. So I'm glad LSS knows what the Guardian players need. So A+ for that. It is a clash just for helping Guardian players be able to play the game still, I worry about them sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody is out there saying that Guardian players need help, because they're usually pretty good. I mean, I'm just thinking about like Michael Fang. Like, I'm actually scared of what Michael Fang might do with this hero.
There's 2 good Guardian players. My bad. I didn't want to, step on Michael Fang's toes. Like,
Dagan and Fang. I mean, there's Kale McCree. There's a lot of great Guardian players.
I just really like to poke fun at the new hero every set. First I made fun of like prison players and I made fun of brute players. And like eventually I always become one anyways. So it's good to poke the fun and then go play them anyways. So
that will be funny. Like when, let's say that actually let's remove these heroes from the equation. We're gonna be at a nationals one day, and you're gonna have scrubbed out with Leviat, and I'm gonna have scrubbed out with Riptide. We're gonna switch decks. You're gonna make fun of the deck the whole time, and then like 6 months later, you're gonna be cashing with Riptide. I'll be like, "Well, what happened?" It's just.
I think I have a 100% cash rate with Leviat. No, there was one about I didn't do it. I cashed the calling. I cashed the around 20K, but I didn't cash nationals. So.
Oh yeah.
Unlucky.
Is that? I mean, yeah, yeah, sure. It's unlucky. Now, are you going to cash with Victor Goldmane? Is the question?
I think I could cash with Dagan White. I think I could bring him to a tournament and learn how to block a little bit better. And
yeah, I think you're already like off to the races. Like Dagan's already a really good Guardian player, and now he is a Guardian. So like, what are we doing here?
We need to get someone to alter this to look even more like Dagan.
Oh, yeah.
Like instead of like gold token, make like a GameStop token, like really just go all in and just like
that would be amazing. Now, are you excited for heavy hitters?
I am. The last set might be my favorite set so far. I loved that set. It was so much fun to play. But this set looks sick. Like I am excited for it.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of highs and lows, a lot of high rolling, right? Like with wagering and clash and just the nature of all the heroes. So it should be really interesting. I'm very excited to kind of get into the nitty gritty and like kind of start to see spoilers, which for anybody listening, make sure to check out the Fresh and Buds YouTube, January 17th New Zealand time, which it will probably be the 16th Eastern time here. For a spoiler, it's going to be quite good. I have to edit that.
If you guys haven't seen it, his video on Twitter was 10 out of 10. Great video.
Thank you. And that's just a taste of what's to come in the main video. Check out the Twitter. Check out YouTube. Yes. Listener questions. Are you ready to answer some questions from our wonderful listeners, aka Buds?
I am. In 2 seconds. One more thing about Victor's art.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at the young version, that dude in the back with like the cool helmet and the nice beard.
Yeah.
I want to know who that guy is. That guy looks badass.
That guy does look pretty cool.
Like, I'm saying, like he's like a background character, but like
maybe he'll be an ally.
He looks like he has like a crossbow or something, and like with like crossbow people in the face, and
he looks like I don't know, French Revolution kind of like, oh no, like all of a sudden we're getting overtaken by these soldiers. He looks like one of those soldiers. I don't know.
Is he gonna overtake Dagan? Is he gonna take him out one day? And is that the next lore?
That's the next hero. It's I don't know what we call him. Jimbo, Victor Goldmane's crony. I don't know why we haven't been hired to make cards for LSS.
We would be great at lore, great commentators where we can say, oh, it's Dagan White versus.
Yeah, we have great ideas. Call us.
We do.
Now we do have listener questions. First off comes from Jeffo, who does our merch, which is also in the show notes as well. My question for Mo is, how did you enjoy hosting the coaxing? That was a huge undertaking for your casting debut.
I loved it. So I showed up at the coaxing around, was it like 7 a.m.? And like, this isn't like some professional this isn't some like professional like live stream, right? Like we get there and we're setting up the camera. The light doesn't look good, so we move the tables. Like everything was done that morning. So I felt like the commentator, the director, I was like editing the stream midstream. I felt like I had a lot of like cool roles in there, like. So if you ever need a commentator that can also fix lighting, also do mic work, also work OBS, also, like I'm just saying, like it was a ton of fun. I loved meeting all the other commentators was sick. Hanging out with everybody, them boosting me up was great. I'm pretty sure I got served an alcoholic drink at 10 a.m. I'm pretty sure Joey walked over and said, "Hey, drink this." And I was like, "Oh, cool, let's go." So being able to commentate and drink was a unique and sick experience. The coaxing is always a blast.
Awesome. I mean, I would say if I was ever in the booth, I would be, even if it was Worlds, I would be drinking. Now, I'm kidding. Please hire me. No. Next question comes from Gary, a.k.a. Mr. Viz. What's your Chili's order?
My Chili's order. Okay. So first, you need to be a Chili's reward member. That is step one.
Okay.
Reward members get either one free soda or they get free chips and salsa every visit. You got to get those free chips and salsa.
Oh, that's
just value.
A pro move.
And now, if you're a broker like I am, you get the 3 appetizer plate, you get the egg rolls, the like smash burger bites, and the mozzarella sticks. That is a great, that with the chips and salsa, can't go wrong.
It's all
now,
the
if you have
major
extra
food
money,
groups.
if you're like a big wig, right? If you're a big wig, like the big extra bucks, you get the barbecue combo, which comes with like a 1/4 slab of ribs, Texas toast. What is that Mexican corn? Is it elote?
Elote.
Yes, it comes with elote. It comes with sausage with like cheese and stuff in it. Like if you got like the extra like $8 to spend, you get the barbecue meal and you're like living large. If you got like $14, get the appetizer bundle and just chips and salsa, just pig out.
Yeah, I mean, that is
if you guys
true blue American meal right there. If I've ever heard one.
If you ever want a Chili's date, hit me up. I'm always down to go to Chili's with you. If you need someone to bring home into the family, all it takes is one Chili's date, and I'll be there.
Speaking of Chili's dates, oh wait, this is a terrible. Capolo asked if we are going to have a Crocs and LSS collaboration. What would your dream design of Crocs be?
That is hard. I think to start things off, you need James White's signature.
Okay.
Because my Lightning McQueen Crocs are signed by James White. They're both signed. So that's a big element. And it's going to be hard, right? But I think they have to have a cool, unique feature that makes them special. And I don't know how to do that. So like you want some like cool lights on. Like when you walk, you have to light up shoes because those are always badass. And
it'd be cool to have like the Fab Metal token pop outs like come out of the little
there
holes.
You go.
You're like, oh, I don't have a token for my resources. Wait, and you just reach down and grab it off your Croc.
That is sick. I like that. Okay.
I'm an idea guy.
So, yeah.
I don't know.
So you just put the Fab Metal tokens in there, put some lights on them, put James White's signature on there,
and just Lightning McQueen again. Why not?
Yeah, honestly, like, that's already the best one, right? So, like, might as well just make it Lightning McQueen.
Ka-chow. Now, here's a question from Greg, a.k.a. Darth Prentice, who asked, which hero from Heavy Hitters will Living Legend first?
Ooh. That is spicy. I think it's going to be Kasai. Wow. I think I've never played Warrior once in my life. I've played a few games of Dory and testing, but not like serious. I do think there's a lot of Kasai stands out there. And I do think there's a lot of Warrior stands out there. And being able to build an army while also getting access to like Blood on My Hands and all these other really good effects, I think Kasai will be the first hero to LL. And if I had to put money on it, I think Elaine is going to get those first points for her. I think Elaine's going to go out there and just rock a ProQuest.
All right, Elaine. I mean, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to say, I don't know if it counts, but Rhinar is in the set. I think Rhinar LL's first.
I didn't say Rhinar because I felt like that was like a cop out, but I still would say Kasai. How many points does Rhinar have right now? Does he have a lot?
He won a calling, maybe 2 callings at this point. So he definitely has some points, and he managed to get some points here and there. But I do think he's going to get enough weapons here that he can kind of push through. I don't know. It would be nice to see no more Intimidate. Like in the format?
I think it's going to go Kasai and then KO. I think KO is the next to go.
KO could be a surprise.
I think KO is really busted. I think he's going to take the scene by a storm and everyone's going to be like, what? A good brute? What is this? It's going to be great.
Oh, wait, what about Levi? You were talking to Levi before. Now you're like...
I also said that you will just kill yourself and be,
That's true. That's true.
KO can't kill yourself. That's great.
That's true. You can only lose an arm. William, from Table Pit asked, is Victor Brevant's evil twin brother? And what do you think about rarity weapons that I assume need to be drafted to play in limited? I don't know if you can. I'm assuming you can draft those weapons. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
Them. I'm sure there's something for him to play in the event that you don't draft them.
So first off, evil brother would be sick. I met the cosplayer that cosplayed as Brevant at Worlds. Yeah. He was a super nice guy, and he loves Brevant, right? So, like, he was worried that the new hero is going to be Brevant, right? But I could see that. I could see the evil brother. I could see him being, like, the one that daddy didn't love enough, so he became evil, Like, he didn't get daddy's love, so now he's trying to fight people.
That could be it. Yeah, that could be. He's got a little chip on his shoulder. Brevant was the golden child. I'll go to the Coliseum. I'll show them.
Yep. Part 2, rare weapons are interesting.
Yeah.
I played in a sealed event, and I lost to Frosty Shield and Frosty Hammer round 1 of a sealed event, right? That was miserable back then. Because back then you could play legendaries, you could play cold foils.
Yeah.
It was the wild, wild west, right?
Well, you can't.
I don't think
was it Frosty Shield wasn't out till the next set.
Oh,
right?
Maybe it was Rampart.
It was Rampart, which is still obviously pretty insane.
Yes, it was still really good, right? Like, I was still blown away. So I think the legendaries and majestics were a bad idea. These rares, at least we've only seen one rare so far, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem that insane, so I'm okay with that. As long as the power level stays down, being able to draft or open a cool weapon is sick. It's sick to draft. It's sick to play sealed. I like that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And at least from what we can tell from this one, if the other ones are like that it is very high variance, right? Like it could be the best, or it could be really bad, and all of a sudden you're attacking for 2. And
yes, exactly.
So
you just lose.
Yeah. So especially as a guardian, you don't want to be in that situation. So we'll see. And finally, we have 2 more. Stoop Kid, who graciously came off of his stoop to ask this question. What's your read on Victor's potential playstyle? He reads more mid-range to me, but many feel his hammer effect suggests he'll be fatigue.
So, fatiguing is... it's interesting, right? It depends how many gold creators we get. If there's enough non-attack gold creators that also like buff your next attack, then he's really good. Like, he could be like a nice like mid-rangey aggro deck. But if all the gold makers are blocks and just like more defensively set up cards, he's forced to go fatigue. Off the text box alone, I would assume he's more mid-rangey.
Yeah.
I think this is more of a mid-rangey, maybe like a little more aggressive guardian, because you can draw extra cards, you can like block for 4, draw that card, and then just swing big number. But it depends how many cards you can draw a turn and what those card effects look like. I'm going to lock in mid-rangey to more aggressive.
Yeah, I think that's probably the play, right? Because like if you're creating gold with a card, that card is costing you 2 cards. Right? You're drawing another card. So like it's going to be hard to fatigue at that point, I would imagine. Yes. So, where if you're just activating the gold tokens, you keep the card in the deck that you pitched. So should be interesting. I would say more mid-range as well. And finally, Sigma asks, is this finally Brute's time?
I think we missed Brute's golden age. I think the last 6 months was the Brute golden age when players didn't know how to play Brute perfectly or play against it. Like I would show up to these events and people would be reading my cards. Like at Nationals, people are reading my Brute cards. And that was really the golden age, right? Like when your opponents don't know what you're doing, the golden age. Now I think Brute's going to get better. And I think there's going to be an uptick of Brute players, which will then result in more top 8s, more wins, right? The more people on the decks, the more wins. But I do think the golden age for Brute was 6 months ago. But they will see more play and they will get more results. However, do not register Reckless Swing in Levia. That card is trash.
I disagree on all fronts. It is Brute's time, and Reckless Swing is awesome. That card wins the game, Mark.
It also loses
MoBogsly.
you the game at the same time.
Listen, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I know you've registered that card. I've seen it. I've seen you register that card.
I can register and still be a bad card.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I can say blue cheese is bad and then still have wings with blue cheese because they don't sell ranch. Like, I can stoop down to your level and play Reckless Swing and eat blue cheese.
It's this guy hates blue. That's it. He hates blue. He hates blue cheese. He hates blues. This guy just he was talking about how much he loved yellows earlier. You know what? MoBogsly, this is the last time you're on the show.
You said that the last 4 times. It hasn't happened yet, Tommy.
I know. For some reason, I like hanging out with you.
Weird.
Well, you know, speaking of hanging out with you, it's the end of hanging out with you today.
Already? You're kicking me off. You said 10 hours.
Oh,
You
yeah.
told me
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a
We got
10-hour
9 more
podcast.
hours.
Yep.
Please plug everything you'd like to plug, my friend, and thank you for coming on again.
Thank you for having me, Tommy. It's always a blast hanging out with you. But you can be sure to subscribe to this video, like this video, leave a comment on this video, and say blue cheese sucks or rancher rules. Be sure to add that in there. And now, feel free to follow me on Twitter. It's at MoBogsly. Follow me on YouTube at MoBogsly. Follow me on Twitter at MoBogsly. Add me on Call of Duty at MoBogsly. Add me on Fortnite. You said anything, Tommy. I'm going to keep going.
I mean, what else is there? You know, you named it all.
Add me on only.
Well, guess what, folks? MoBogsly is MoBogsly everywhere you want to look at him. And now you can continue to find me on Twitter at freshbudspod. Please check out the Buds Discord. Patreon will be back and running in February. I will talk about that whenever I'm ready to do that. YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. The spoiler video is less than a week away. I think this card's awesome, and you know what? It might just actually make it be Brute's time to shine. So with all that, I like to end every episode talking about food. Tell me what you want to eat at the hockey game tonight.
So at the hockey game, I'm a big tater tot with a bunch of stuff on it. So like most hockey games, you get nachos with like all the nacho stuff on it, but some hockey games have tater tots with the nacho stuff. And I don't know if they have it here, so I'm gonna go look. But I would love some tater tots with cheese, jalapenos, ranch, like all the good stuff. And just like
the big 3: cheese, jalapenos, and ranch. Some loaded tots do sound good. No ranch though, please.
They're solid.
Yeah, loaded tots are good. Maybe, I mean, you're going to an Avalanche game. Maybe they'll have some Rocky Mountain oysters for you. That sounds pretty good too. I think they serve that more at the baseball games. Now, with all that talk of Rocky Mountain oysters, we don't have time for Charmer this week. That's okay. We'll get to him next week. Thank you all.
Unlucky.
And we love you, MoBogsly. Everybody have a great week.